Kumbuka nikikukabidhi moyo wangu.
Nakupenda sana. Nimeambiwa na wewe. Nani? Hiyo. Kaa chini baba. Nani nini wewe? Fungulia mtoto wako. Wewe. Siko wapi? Para mimi zangu nilisahau lini. Nimeweka hii ni strategy. Sasa tutamweka. Nini? One, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. Woo! Mafianan? Baby amepupusa eh. Mafia jadi imejaa pale. The car is coming. We need to finish our move. Hurry up, guys. Hurry up, guys.
dad are not going to stay in the same house. And on the other hand,
Yeah.
between Helena and Damian. I understand. Yeah. What are you doing here, Damian? I came here to tell you that I've been thinking about this lately. And I realized that I want things between you and I to get smoother. Okay, man. What do you mean exactly? Like it or not, I want to take this moment to apologize for the things I've done, okay? And I'd like to, if you let me, I'd like to give you a ride to my Aunt Aurora's house, my house. Whatever you mean.
Do.
See you and Aaliyah having conflict with each other.
Antonio, I'm sorry. Yes, I told her she was an intruder, but for me, she is overreacting.
Are you sure? Helena? My dear.
Sis, I thought you were in the Suez. I'm glad you didn't leave. And Damian asked me to stay at your place for a few days. Damian didn't tell me anything. It's Damian's house, and he is the boss. So now we're going to be one big family.
We have to move into that house. Not even for a few days, all right?
Listen, Dad, I know why she's doing it.
Why?
Tapo.
Antonio,
Tapo.
first, I'm no longer a kid.
You are still my princess.
Yes, thank you. But you see, I can freely do whatever I want. I'm a free woman, and I hope you understand that.
Catching sit.
Well, I don't believe you at all, Damian. I'm making a big
Sit
effort
down.
here. Come on, the only
Sit
thing
down.
I'm asking here is that you do your part
Sit.
to make it work. All right, I will be outside and make some calls so you two can talk privately. I trust you two are going to behave, okay? Don't worry, Julio Cesar, cheese. It's not like I'm Antonio. Look, I don't want to fight with you all the time like cats and dogs, because I know that hurts my mother. But you're always making a scene whenever I get near Helena. Wouldn't you react that way if your girlfriend interacts with her ex-boyfriend? On top of everything, you went to her
No.
and kissed her.
What are you doing?
So there won't be any secrets between the two of us. Do it for my Aunt Aurora. I suffer, I love her. I know. I'm on the same, but burnt child fears the fire. What? I have a proposition to make. Let's try to understand each other. Get to know each other's family. And let's work together. Can we do that? We already work together. I'm asking you one more time, and that's it. If things don't work out and we really can't get along, well, then to each his own task. We'll mind our own business, cousin. No fighting. How does that sound?
Sit. Kunywe nini yako? Sit. Where's your kid?
Where you going? Where you going?
Ashika. Finish.
Finish now.
Huh? Nini? Who has done what?
Home offers the best but guess what? Even animals wameamua hawatawachwa nyuma this time. Right here in Nairobi City, this particular case
Wewe utaangusha. Johnny. We. Haya mtoto hapo.
It is the first Tuesday of the month of February 2026 on the Explainer tonight. IEBC chairman Erastus Ethicon confirms termination of services of CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan by mutual consent. Tunaamini aje sisi pesa tutasaidia ama tutajenga kile barabara. Kitu kingine, hizi barabara it is not a security. Kuna masomo yenye inaenda ikienda chini, kuna health yenye izingatiwi,
Kenyans submit views over the proposed sale of 15% of Safaricom shares, the government kicks off a public participation exercise. Replacing Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka takes over the leadership of the Azimio coalition following new political realignment. Mutchwe Sifuna, embattled ODM Secretary General, speaks on politics in ODM, broad-based government, and the Raila legacy. The last time we spoke to the ODM Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, was last year around June or July.
Chini ya masaa 8 yenye iko mbele, kwa sababu nitafuata ninyi wote ambao mnajificha pale na mifuko ya wananchi, mtafamiliwa na serikali na kwamba operation itaanza officially katika sehemu hiyo.
Firigisheni yako inakaribisha kipya
Sijui nini inaendelea na siwezi sema ni nini na siwezi sema moto imetoka wapi kwa ajili hata sikupata mtu ambaye anaweza niambie kwenye moto imetoka.
Zimamoto ilikuja bila maji na ilikuja hata bila wafanyikazi, sababu kijana wangu mmoja ndiye alikuwa ameshika pipe ya maji na akiambia kandereva aweke pressure maji itoke, maji haikuwa inatoka.
Juliana aikarige shagine ya shauri ugo tokyo hatara ne mutino wa
Maji takakudia. Maji takakudia kana. Baruka. Aji. Ba.
na nitora ndio sisi ya shige itanyari yake ya kushoka.
Wacha. Joni na yeye anakunyang'anya huyu mtoto. Wacha.
One as the chief executive officer of the commission in 2022, and now Marjan Hussein Marjan, whose tenure was set to expire in March 2027, just 5 months before polling day, leaves the poll body.
What did you need?
His departure follows a day-long meeting at the Commission's anniversary tower headquarters, ending with his exit from office following mutual agreement with the second-led new commission. In his resignation letter, Marjan draws public attention to the 2022 general election. A period, according to him, marked by tense times, underscoring the significance of the Secretariat which was subjected to intense public pressure, and which he says strengthened public confidence in the commission. As Swift rejoined her, the commission chairperson noted while the termination of Marjan's services was by mutual consent, the commission will announce an interim replacement assuring the public of stability as the country gears up for next year's polls. Like his predecessors, James Oswago and Ezra Chiloba, Marjan suffered same fate and leaves office unceremoniously since the IEBC came into being, post-2010 promulgation of the Constitution. He was recently adversely mentioned by the opposition of preparedness of next year's polls, questioning whether the Commission Secretariat he headed had done due diligence on election campaigns mathematics, questioning the capacity of the new commissioners, and expressing doubt over the management of the general elections in 2027. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
And here on the Explainer, we have the ODM Party Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna. Edwin, just your quick reaction to the exit of the CEO of the IEBC. What does that change, if anything, in terms of your perception of the country's preparedness and the IEBC's preparedness for the next general election?
Thank you, Ron. The news just filtered in a few hours ago, and for me, it would be prudent for us to await details of the circumstances of his early exit. for us to make any meaningful comment, because the problem we have with the commission is that most of the times we do not know many of the reasons behind the decisions that they make. So even on this one, I would be cautious to just wait for details of the decision. I mean, we need to hear from the commissioners. That communication that has been put out this evening doesn't say much about the reasons behind the exit, and we are told that his term was coming to an end in March of 2027 anyway, which might be a good thing so that you have somebody in office in good time to be able to put together proper preparations for the elections in 2027.
And overall, what has been your feeling about IEBC in the run-up to 2027?
I think we have had very serious challenges. You remember last time we were here, we were discussing about even how we came to have the current commission put together. In the initial days after the expiry of the terms of Chebukati and the others, this government was very keen on having an IEBC that was planned, an IEBC that was put together unilaterally by William Ruto. You will remember it was one of those things that took us to the streets in 2023. It took a very long time. There was a panel led by Makanda that was put in place, that was then put in limbo for a very long time. We had to go through NADCO, which is part of the conversations we're going to be holding this evening. It was a product of very serious labor on the part of the opposition to be able to have the current commission. We have seen very little in terms of indication that there will be a commission that can live up to the expectation of Kenyans. If the activities in the by-elections are anything to go by in November, we saw rampant bribery of voters. We saw involvement of government machinery in campaigns. We saw use of government resources in campaigns. And yet this commission passed those by-elections with free and fair. So I think for me, we will still hold out to be able to see what this commission can do.
Indeed, thank you. Stay with us. ODM Party SG Edwin Sifuna, we have much more to talk about with you here on the program tonight. But to some more news now. Public participation on the sale of 15% of the government-held Safaricom shares to Vodacom has begun in Nairobi, Mandera, Nyandarua, and Machakos. Citizens weighed in on the 200 billion shillings deal aimed at funding infrastructure, raising concerns over government mistrust, national sovereignty, corruption, and potential misuse of funds. Supporters of the multi-billion transaction called for Kenyans' inclusion in the share buyout and civic education on the financial implications. Seth Olale.
Yeah.
For the first time, their opinion regarding the government's 15% share sale to Vodacom worth 244 billion shillings during the public participation sessions that kicked off in Nairobi, Mandera, Nyandarua, and Machakos counties. Majority of citizens expressing concerns regarding utilization of the proceeds, authenticity of the valuation and pricing mechanism, corruption, wastage in government, misprioritizing the intended proceeds, and lack of a proper legislation, ring-fencing the fund. Tulipoteza tena 11 billion kurusha yenye hatuwezi kubali kudanganya kuuza kampuni zetu. Tunaamini aje sisi pesa zitatusaidia ama zitateka zile barabara. Kitu kingine, hizi barabara, it is not a priority. Kuna masomo yenye inaenda chini, kuna health yenye izingatiwi. Sizungumzie utendakazi peke yake, nazungumzia vile siri hasa za nchi yetu ambazo ziko ndani ya Safaricom. Price of 34. I guess Safaricom being a very growing company, maybe in the next 1 year, those shares will be worth 50 shillings. Those supporting the sale of the government's 15% shares to Vodacom want fellow Kenyans to be given an opportunity to buy a stake in the Safaricom Vodacom divestiture. Let it sell to Kenyans. Give out a public outplea that you need money and let Kenyans buy those shares.
We want to construct roads. What I could propose, opinion is, let them identify those right people who can construct good road, maybe putting water, electricity, and whatever, because of transparency. So lakini kuna mtu alitufundisha hapa. Mheshimiwa alipofika pia jaribu kutufundisha, at least kuna jambo tumeweza kuelewa moja au mbili.
Nikiona ni mambo ya development, hiyo na hiyo fedha inaenda kufanya hiyo kazi.
Ni pesa ngapi zinabaki za kujenga barabara, za kujenga hospitali, za kujenga dams? 29.8 billion shillings.
The public participation session has scheduled to run for 2 weeks in a total of 30 counties, even as the public participation extends to other parts of the country. Members of the public want their views to be included in the final report
Daniel.
regarding the sale of the government's stake in Safaricom to Vodacom. International Convention Center in Nairobi County.
Sawa.
Busia County,
Who's there?
the anti-graft watchdog's radar as investigations intensify into the irregular awarding of tenders amounting to 1.4 billion shillings from 2022 to 2025. Governor Paulo today recorded a statement at the EACC regional office in Kampala, where he is regarded as a person of interest. Key details of some of the issues under investigation involve the issuance of tenders to 26 proxy companies associated with family members of senior officials of the Busia County government.
There are hundreds and hundreds of files here, going all the way back to 2013. And I'm sure they will give you those answers. Rather than mentioning people's names, that is not within. I just came to answer what concerns me as a governor.
Also on the radar is the issue of the construction of the Busia Trailer Park Yard, where the county government is alleged to have irregularly laid out a 2.4-acre piece of public land for the construction of the yard. According to EACC, ASI Limited signed a 25-year lease agreement with an annual rate of 1.4 million shillings, escalating at a 10% rate every 5 years, where the county government gets a revenue share of 50% and ASI Limited backing 70% of the revenue collected at the yard. Formerly, the incorporating of the anti-corruption
Hawataziba hivi yani.
Hapo ndani.
From where it seems I don't have visibility on the surface activities in Kitui. But the numbers here imply that on average you collect 5 trucks. Now, so Kitui and the county as fast as it is it the reality that it's just about 5 trucks that transport stuff? Or is it that some trucks pay and that money is never recorded? What we have established, the government of Kitui is not the one who is collecting percent or any employee of ours. It is CEO's wicked system in
taken a truck ferrying sand from between rivers. You know, this is a matter that everybody now is actually glued on their TV to hear your answers on the matter of steps from the sand in between rivers. Please, please take all those up. Just say the truth.
Azimio Coalition Council chairperson and retired President Uhuru Kenyatta chaired a meeting that has effected changes in the coalition leadership. Pleased to release the new Azimio party leader. And the changes already communicated to the registrar of political parties. Key allies was with Suba North MP Karoli Omondi in a meeting that also resolved to have new parties join the coalition.
Several months after the passing on of Raila Odinga, the Azimio La Umoja Coalition Party held its first meeting where it resolved to effect key changes in its leadership structure. Meeting resolved to have Wiper Patriotic Front leader Kalonzo Musyoka place the late Odinga as
Happy Friends Day to you, Betty.
Suba North lawmaker Karoli Omondi, new Azimio Secretary General, veteran politician Philip Kistia, taking up the role of executive director. In effect, apart from replacing Odinga, his ally Juliet Mohammed, who was the Secretary General, has been shown the door, as well as then Executive Director reference to you. The resolution communicated to the registrar of political parties, John Lonuku, the Azimio Council, meeting to the registrar, notice dated 29th January, minutes of the meeting held on 2nd February 2026, resolutions of the meeting, including change of officials, a letter dated 2nd February addressed to Juliet Mohammed removal, a statutory form 57 on the change of officials, as well as an attendees list of the meeting, were also submitted to the registrar. The Azimio Council meeting also resolved to open doors for new political parties to join the coalition. This prepares for 2027 general election.
The government has announced a renewed security crackdown on cattle rustling in Isiolo, Samburu, and Meru counties, with the operation set to take effect immediately. Interior Cabinet Secretary Chumba Bourman, speaking during a security engagement in Isiolo on Tuesday, said the multi-agency operation will involve the Kenya Defence Forces and the National Intelligence Service. The agencies will work in close coordination with the National Police Service to flush out criminal networks operating in the region. Citizen TV's Ben Hero with more.
Bandits, cattle rustlers, and other criminal elements who are for years that terrorize the parts of Isiolo, Samburu, and Meru counties will have nowhere to hide. The Interior Cabinet Secretary Chumba declaring a high-level multi-agency security operation dismantling criminal networks once and for all. Tomorrow, speaking on Tuesday while presiding over a security meeting following weeks of bandit attacks around Isiolo town and parts of Meru County, Murkomen said the operation will go beyond pursuing armed criminals, not including individuals involved in the purchase of illegal firearms and ammunition, as well as those by stolen livestock. Operation itakuwa chungu, itakuwa ina target bandit wenyewe wale wanaopatia pesa ya kununua wananunua ng'ombe directly kutoka hao wakiwapatia pesa ya kuendelesha. The operation will involve the Kenya Defence Forces and the National Intelligence Service NIS, which will be deployed to target zone areas and work in close coordination with the National Police Service to flash out bandits. Networks operating in the region. Mtu asianze kulia ule hapo kwa hiyo rososo huko ule hapo kwa hiyo mlima ingine hiyo anapichana mahali nyingine hapana kama
kazi.
the affected areas.
Haya.
Officers who are overstayed in this place and they have become complacent. Wamezoeana, wako na marafiki, wako na networks na watu hapa wanaogopa kiongozi huyu na kiongozi yule.
Instead of officers who have overstayed public With more than 2 million Kenyans facing hunger as a result of the prolonged drought in coastal counties, there is little hope from the weatherman ahead of the long rain. The Kenya Meteorological Department says its projections indicate the affected counties average rainfall between March and May amounts deemed insufficient to reverse the impact of the drought.
The northeastern, the east parts of the country, the basal parts, average to below average. Average may not be adequate deficit that is already on the ground because the OND rainfall failed in these areas. And even the previous seasons did not perform well.
Reports indicate that the prolonged dry season has caused nearly 65% of water sources in the affected counties to dry up, a situation that has left thousands of children, pregnant women, and breastfeeding mothers suffering from acute malnutrition.
Over 134,000 pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers are acutely malnourished and they require treatment. Among the affected children, 194,000 are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, with 56% residing in the Asal counties and also the refugee camps.
The weatherman, however, has offered some good news for the country's food basket region. The western and highland areas are expected to receive average to above average rainfall. With the prospect of heavier rains, the government is putting measures in place to manage potential flooding and landslides. It is also a management challenge that will require concerted efforts across government agencies, international organizations, disaster relief organizations, and other businesses in order to successfully equip communities at risk with climate information and advisory services that enable them to make improved decisions under variable and changing climate. The Kenya Meteorological Department, speaking at the 12th National Climate Outlook Forum, is expected to officially release its long range projection on Wednesday. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And we are taking a quick short break on the explainer tonight, but we're back with Senator Edwin Sifuna, who's
Thank you, Mono, for your report yaku.
Pole baba.
PM Secretary General Sifuna speaks on internal politics, broad-based government, and the Raila Odinga legacy.
Not taken. His counterattack from the chairman convened a meeting with 5 commissioners on Monday afternoon. It said the vice chairman is away. A meeting whose deliberations were to be minted and used as a basis for termination of his contract. The same will on Tuesday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday, Commissioners Francis Odwor, and Andy Richmond, with Hassan Noor downplaying the crisis meeting. acting, which he termed as routine special. Shortly after Commissioner Karen Sorovich left and was followed by CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan, who declined to comment on the matter when NTV asked him about the letter and the crisis meeting.
Mama Johnny, want to get food?
Contamination of Marjan, while Marjan has also issued his communication to staff members. Its representatives Ruth Kurulu and Obadia Keitani are also set to head the commission in March and May 2027 respectively. Some President Marjan Hussein Marjan comes barely days after the united opposition called for his exit among the several demands the IEBC. Marjan Hussein Marjan dramatically exit office as the commission secretary and the chief executive officer.
Certainly a story we'll continue to keep our eyes on as it continues to develop. Well, let's take another break. Business music coming up next.
Wambura yake melake nini mwaka mwito kufanyia. Kwa mwagine hariri ya ripoti.
Our country has continued to experience severe weather and climate-related events that have resulted in the loss of life, damage to infrastructure, and disruption of
Yoro hamwe na iketaija igomiro makenya n'engaragu oshamashi kebyara ya aikari marathi magoro gatagate ga kilomita ithatatu kinya ikumi gwetha mai.
Among the affected children, 194,000 are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, with 56% residing in the Assam County and also the refugee camps.
Maugeta kaunti shamara na waji Okwenda makeria na aikari marathi kinya kilomita 14 kule nyama hiyo.
Longer trekking distances for water, rapid depletion of pasture and water sources, declining livestock body conditions and milk production.
Ado milioni igere turuma imwe niyo magomeirwo n'engaragu bũrũri-inĩ ũndũ ũrĩa ũcũngĩrĩirie kuongerereka gwa thogora wa irio baracambia ndũrĩrĩ-inĩ wagi wa irio na maĩ ma mahiũ.
So there's a lot that is going on for us to cushion Kenyans from the shocks of the climate shocks that are occurring. And as I say, this is really a multi-sector for us, the climatic outlook.
Okay, ici nĩ itanyĩtwo kũruta ndũmĩrĩri ya ũrĩa maratanya rĩera rĩgayũre ngĩribotera Inooro TV njĩtagwo Njoki.
Uguria wa mwili wa mtu wa kirathi ya fomu kuri wa yetu wa Njoro wona letie mtu wa ayo kono ya mtu wa malaria na mtoe daktari teta the signing ceremony for that coalition. There was over 26 of us.
Uletewe chai ya mafuta kukula.
I don't know actually.
Chai ya mafuta kukula ma sasa hivi.
Yes, after 25 vis-a-vis 26 is not me. And I can only speak authoritatively for ODM. And today, I have brought the constitution of ODM because I need to educate people. This is called explaining. We need to explain things to people so that they understand. The constitution of ODM is here with me. And it says that for ODM to exit a coalition, you require that identifiable party constitution. A resolution backed by 2,000 members of the National Executive Committee of the party. Then you communicate to the registrar. So that has not happened. So as far as I know, ODM had the constitution in the Azimio Council. I think Governor Paranya, who of course, by virtue of him having been appointed to cabinet for notable positions of political party. The Honorable Junet Mohammed, I've seen the bulletin there that he was informed, he was aware of this particular meeting. Those are the people who is representing Azimio. So for me, I know that, we are still members of that coalition, and just congratulate the coalition because it has been a bit cheap last time. Let's holders and wish them the very best, and they can count on the support of ODM party for as long as we remain members of the coalition. As I was saying, things have been a bit
the person who's now the party leader.
Things have been a bit quiet on that front, but that's what I'm saying. For us, we know that we are still members, and I want to thank them for at least allowing us as members of ODM time to mourn our departed king. That many of the things we've seen in our own party, they did not do the same after the death of Raila Odinga, that they gave us time to be able to mourn our party leader. Even a lot of things have happened. When the last time I was here was in July, actually 22nd of July last year, and people have asked, oh, why have I taken all this time? And I want to explain to you, even you asked me, why now? There is a reason. You know, after the explain of 22nd July, certain things happened. The first one was the party called a central committee meeting to discuss Sifuna, and I'm sure after this one, they will call another one. But good things come out of those meetings, even when they go to discuss Sifuna. 14 days after we spoke, and because we spoke about the state of the implementation of the MOU, which we signed with UDA, 14 days later, on the 6th of August, there was a notification from the President in Raila Odinga of the setting up of a committee, which they call a committee to oversee the implementation of the 10-point agenda and the NADCO report. And after that central committee meeting, of course, the meeting happened in the presence of all the leaders. This committee was announced, and the communication, which I have a copy here of, is signed by Raila Odinga and the President himself, gave a deadline of March 7th, 2026 for this committee to submit its final report. And I remember agreeing with my boss, the late Raila Odinga, that I will give this committee a chance. Because when I was on this show, I declared that MOU dead for very good reasons, if you remember. And he said, Sifuna, look, many of these people in this committee that we put together, including the chairperson, Agnes, who's actually my deputy, and somebody who I respect because she's my predecessor. Many of them are members of ODM, Fatuma Ibrahim, Gabriel Obuda. Those are people that I know and have worked with. And Raila told me, Sifuna, give these people 6 months. It's been 6 months. And I'm here to say, I am here to sound the alarm that they have 30 days to give us a final report on the MOU, because that MOU is not extendable. The expiry date was 7th March 2026. So I'm hoping that tonight, wherever Baba is, he knows that I have kept his promise to give these people a chance to work. And we agreed on 6 months. Today, those 6 months are over. We have only 1 month to go. And I want to understand how this committee is going to deliver all those 10 points that we agreed before that deadline.
With a month to go, what is your assessment of the...
They have done nothing. They have done absolutely zero. And we will go with you one by one.
Okay.
I want to start with that MOU because there are some issues which came up even in your bulletin. The MOU is here because I brought copies that have been signed. And I want to show your viewers so that they don't say Sifuna comes here with his own things. First of all, this MOU, you know, we need to educate the public. There's a lot of ignorance out there. This MOU bears 2 signatures. I don't know if they can zoom in on that copy.
Yeah.
Do you see Sifuna's signature here? There are only 2 signatures about if you can read from wherever. Who are these people who signed this MOU? The President, William Ruto, and Raila Odinga. Those are the people who signed this document. We wrote it. They signed it. Now, if you have to extend this MOU, you have to talk to Raila. You understand what I'm saying? So, we start with point number 1. We say the first issue that we agreed upon, because these are the issues that were important to Raila Odinga, the full implementation of the NADCO report. So what was the NADCO report? And you have to go back to that NADCO conversation and I'll give you. The first one was an audit of the 2022 elections. You have just asked me here about the question of this CEO meeting. Majan has a lot of questions to answer, not just to members of ODM and the opposition or supporters of Raila Odinga, but to the country about what happened in 2022. So this is what we agreed in NADCO, a comprehensive evaluation of the 2022 electoral process to enhance transparency and public trust. That has not happened, and I challenge that Agnes Zanu-led committee to show us where an audit of 2022 has happened. The next one, government expenditure cuts. All government arms should reduce travel budgets by 50%. Just the other day, you saw in the newspapers a report. Kindiki, the deputy president, 340 million shillings expenditure or budget for his travel, private jets and choppers. Number 3, devolution support. Calls for the national governments to finalize the transfer of all devolved functions to county governments. I want them to demonstrate to us how that has been done. Finally, there was a question of the political parties regulation, where Baba through NADCO had agreed with the UDA to establish an independent political parties regulatory commission to oversee registration and funding of political parties. Even this question of funding of political parties, I can state authoritatively here that the money and the resources you see being spent in those ODM rallies, the so-called underground, those monies are not coming from ODM headquarters.
Where are they coming from?
You will ask them. Because for me, this is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. I can only account for money because I'm a signatory to the bank account. Forget this rubbish you hear people saying here. Timothy Bosire, the treasurer, is a signatory to the bank accounts. The last money we expended as ODM officially was for the celebrations in Mombasa, and it was a fraction of what we saw there. So I am telling you, I know for a fact, there is parallel funding for activities clothed in ODM colors, and they go around running around saying they are ODM delegates. So this is the problem that we have.
Just one moment.
Yes.
So we can go step by step. So what you're saying is the Linda Ground
those rallies are not financed from party headquarters or party conference.
Today, what we have seen in terms of gaining, public support or sentiment for the pre-election coalition pact, which we'll talk about.
I am telling you,
the party,
all those activities that you have seen, including those ones that you are referring to, there is no money that I executed a check for from party coffers or headquarters. In fact, we didn't have any money. The third quarter of the financial year, the remittances came, I think, 2 weeks ago, about 100 million shillings. And it is a drop in the ocean to what, when compared to what exactly ODM is supposed to receive. As we speak now, ODM is owed a total of 12 billion shillings by Treasury. Yet we are being told that my former chairperson is the cabinet secretary for Treasury. So, if you go just by that issue alone on the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report, the score there is 0, and I challenge anybody to come up with a better score if they have done the things that Papa agreed to. Number 2 was inclusivity in spheres of public life. This is what they parrot around, saying, they have employed somebody from Western, they have employed somebody from Coast, they have employed somebody. Baba, when we were discussing these issues, it was not about positions and which tribe gets what. We have turned into the Rigathi Gachagwas of today. We are the ones speaking the language of shares. We are the ones saying the cow should be divided into 2 halves and 50-50. I mean, we, for all the condemnation that they extend to Rigathi Gachagua, they are the ones speaking the language of shares now because they have tested government power.
It's not inclusivity.
This is what I'm saying. Inclusivity. If you look,
appointments,
just level. Look at the text. Kenya belongs to all persons regardless of their ethnicity, religion, generation, or geographic location. This is the thinking that went into this. You understand? So it is not just about getting 2 lawyers employed. No. It is not just about even religious and even geographical discrimination. These are things that you have to look at.
And you think that's not been done?
Well, you can say the inclusion of a few people who would never have got an opportunity in any government is positive, but that one will give them 20% out of 100. Protecting and strengthening devolution. Baba wanted specifically in this financial year that we are concluding 450 million shillings to go to counties. They gave us 415, not 450. Now, when you look at what is happening with the counties themselves, as a senator, I can tell you, we have been, there was a time when the regime was making a lot of noise saying they have to date with remittances. Counties are struggling, Yvonne, because they go up to 2-3 months without disbursement of their shares, equitable shares. and then they tell us they are supporting devolution. This is what, on NADCO, in terms of transfer of all devolved functions, functions in devolved, we still have national government entities, especially in the water sector, running devolved functions. This has not been done, and I challenge anybody to tell me that this has been done. Let's go until number 10. So did we get 450 billion?
Yes. So
we should not get. We did not get 450 billion. So if we agreed on 450 and you give me 415, you cannot say you have done it.
So you give a score
of zero. Let them come and tell us their score.
All right, economic
promoting and protecting the livelihoods of young people. Just today in your bulletin, Yvonne, and this is tied up with this other issue of stopping extrajudicial killing. We have police officers being accused in Kahawa West of torturing and killing 2 young people, stuffing maize in their bodies and torturing them to death and beating them with blunt objects. Have killing stopped? I have counted upwards of 20 people, young people, killed by this regime after signing this document. And we can go through that list from the gentleman, Charlie, Albert Ojwang. All of those things happened after signing of this MOU. So we can pontificate about this so-called Nyota program, which, by the way, is an abuse of public resources. Abuse of public resources. Because how can you turn the distribution of these resources funded by the World Bank, by the way, which we have to all pay back, and turn them into UGA rallies? How can you do that? And nobody is saying anything about it. So, this one, number 4, let them give us their score, I will give them 0. Leadership
integrity and the end of opulence.
Let me not even start. This is the problem that got us into the 2024 quagmire in the first place. I've given you the example of Kindiki and his private jets. Should we still be seeing such opulence in government? We have been told that State House runs through its budget and soda way before the financial year closes. So let them explain to us.
Thanks to peaceful assembly compensation.
This one, you know the answer. You know the answer. First of all, ODM is a public funded organization that was built on the back of peaceful assembly and protest. No ODM leader should be heard saying we can limit or threaten the rights to Article 37 anyway. ODM.
All right. On that, let me ask you this, because we've seen the CS for Treasury speaking. I believe it was just yesterday that he has seen the economic impacts of protests in the country. That for 1 month of protest, it takes about 3 months to recover. And I guess he said that based on what he's saying is his new position and his new information.
What he forgets that there is a reason, a cause for those mandamano. What was the reason for why the young people went to the streets in 2024? They didn't just wake up. It is the intransigence and the refusal to listen to elected positions that drive people to exercise their rights. You know, even for us, this is the point, because those are not our only choices. Opposition is not synonymous with mandamano. There are other ways to hold the government accountable. Nobody is saying if you leave the broad-based government, who has told you that? Nobody has said any of that. You have to have a reason, an excuse for you to be on the streets. When we went to the streets in 2023 with Baba, and by the way, many of these people who are speaking here, I never saw them in the streets with Raila. But these days, they are the experts on how mandamano is a bad thing or a good thing. They were not there, and everybody knows that. Now, there are reasons, including cost of living. The cost of living was so high that we had to go to the streets putting careers on our heads to demonstrate that we need food for people. You know, when we were talking about audit of the 2022 elections, that is a reason, a valid reason for you to be able to go on the streets. And we didn't start on the streets, Yvonne. I remember we did a rally at Jivanji here. And we set out all these conditions and we say, please, we're giving government opportunity to address these issues. We even suggested how some of those issues could be addressed. When they are ignored, you move to this public action, which includes the rights under Article 37. Since this document was signed with UDA committing to respect the right under Article 37, how many peaceful protests have you seen being broken up violently and brutally? Many, they are countless, including now we are at a situation where they even tear gas churches. People who rode on the church to gain access to power. These days, they don't even respect our freedom of worship. information that I'm not safe in church. And many people don't know that it is not just a specific leader. I know they talk about Gachagua and his incidents. And by the way, I need to say this. Raila Odinga that I knew, the Raila Odinga that I knew, would never wish the worst. Would never wish the worst, even on his own worst enemy. Raila Odinga in power, or in cooperation with a party in power, would not allow the tear gassing of the devil in church. That's what I'm telling you. So when you see people saying, oh, you can tear gas this one because he's a bad person, he used to do the same to us, you can call out regarding